But yeah, let's finish it off by watching Golgot's new video. And it's called Around the Bend. I'm not sure. Racing. Oh, racing from 2013 to 2022. Shit. Okay, this is gonna be fun. You guys ready for this?
Racing in the game.
Yeah, no, we've actually been talking about that. It's something pretty easy for us to do. We actually want to do kind of in-game things to let people bet against each other, play, do stuff. So we will have in-game racing.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like gladiatorial areas, racing areas, fun things to do.
We want people, the whole point of customization. We want a whole subculture of people showing up with their hot rod ships with
that's awesome.
Go faster stripes and
go faster stripes and
spoilers on the back.
Okay.
This week's fan focus comes from two of our favorite contributors, Anything FPS and Disco Lando, where they
this is Jared before he grew a beard, by the way.
Took the buggy and created a buggy bumper car bonus round inside the hangars. Take a look at this as they zoom around and race their buggies through all these different iterations of the hangar. We're looking forward to what everybody else can do when those tools are released. Nice job, Disco and Anything FPS.
We have a competition or esports thing would figure out ways to broadcast the combat.
Which year was this? What year? 2014.
Those tools are released. Nice job, Disco and Anything FPS.
We have a competition or esports thing would figure out ways to broadcast the combat or ways to broadcast the racing, and maybe once the persistent universe is up and running, you could even be in a bar in the persistent universe looking on the TV and see basically our Twitch broadcast of that you could also see direct on our website. So hopefully that sounds cool.
That's all well and good, but when you're talking about a racing machine, at the end of the day, you really have to, race it.
Wait, this was added in 2014? I thought this was newer, dude. Oh, Jesus.
Murray Cup is one of those things that was initially an idea that was bantied about. It was a piece of thing in the lore, and somebody was like, racing would be cool.
But originally it was sort of a test piece. Like, hey, I built this to test the ships and fly them around. And then that sort of evolved into, hey, we could make that a thing.
Yeah.
Is there anything about underground?
I don't think they lied when they said that they just made StarCart. Are we going to call it now like that now? StarCart Racing from scratch in 1 month. I don't think that they lied, because it was basically made from scratch, because all of the shit that we just saw was scrapped because it doesn't look good.
Racing being written into the lore, with the Armada package being as much of a hit as it was, my org is looking to start an underground circuit of capital.
That's what they call this?
Racing.
Okay.
So underground racing is something that we have worked into the lore, and it's also something that'd be really fun to provide the tools for players to set up on themselves, being able to kind of create their own race courses. And I've had a couple conversations with design, so it's something that's interesting and maybe we'll be able to do. We still have to work out some of the details of it.
There's going to be a kiosk for you to enter races and bet on illegal races, with a view over a tunnel where the ships are going to start and end their races, going through the asteroid and that sort of thing.
And we're going to have an asteroid slalom race around the Grim Hex.
Mm-hmm. What else? Okay, just like a thing that I want to show you that I got a lot of flack about too, or a lot of flack for. Listen to this. This is from like a couple of streams ago. But do you guys trust Chris at all, at like his statements and his judgments? Like for me, John Crew and Chris Roberts are basically those guys in your like that are your friends. Like they're hanging out with you with your like bigger crew of friends, and they're always there. But like whenever they say anything, like they're not dangerous. They're not gonna like do anything bad. But they are like, yeah, sure, buddy. Like whatever you said, sure, cool. Oh, you like fell off a motorcycle and you grabbed a ledge and you were holding a motorcycle, and there was like a hot girl walking next to you, and you just had to like flex, so you like did pull-ups with a motorcycle in your hand, dangling off a fucking ledge. Sure, buddy. Yeah. Okay. Galaxy soon. Sure, buddy. Yeah. Server meshing soon. Sure, buddy. And then you just continue the conversation with the other people. Because like, why would you even talk to them? They just say something and you're like, yeah, they're not going to do anything. They're like harmless. They're okay. They're fine. They can be here, but whatever. So yeah, that was, that I didn't want to go into that rant again. You saw that already? The leader? Yeah. So.
That sort of thing.
And we're going to have an asteroid slalom race around the Grim Hex. So it'll be a new race around Grim Hex, which will be cool. Racing's a mode in Arena Commander, but really some of the most fun racing will be like the in-fiction, in-the-universe racing. So, you know, people can already see in Grim... You can already see in Grim Hex that there's, you know, part of a race course that's already laid out there.
7 years ago, dude.
You know, in later iteration, we're going to open that up where players would compete and maybe bet against each other.
Yeah, they can be here.
Tell us something new about 3.0.
They don't bother me that much, but like, sure.
Recently, we've been working on a character named Luca Brunt who runs the racing parlor in Grim Hex, and he's going to help you place bets as well as maybe have some racing missions for you to do.
Right.
Will the Grim Hex racetrack be open for racing in 3.0?
It's something we're looking into. We certainly want to, because it would be awesome. But it's a pipeline thing that may or may not make it in for 3.0.
I mean, the beauty thing we've got for the moons is we've got a lot of space. So waypoint racing around a hill or something like that is kind of where we're looking at the moment. Like, bup, 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 and then you're done, and it's like, oh, and then I just race. Like the tech is so incredible.
5 years ago. No, 6 years ago. Fucking 6 years ago.
Incredibly
it's really cool.
Easy to...
And we just got this. Was it that hard to like introduce the waypoints? That are not like that can't be the final solution. We need markers. When like most people are gonna fly and race in Arena Commander anyways.
To put together some prototypes, it's
good microcosm for all of Star Citizen. You know, the first couple of years is building all of these tools that allow us to do things much quicker. You know, one of the most common questions we get about any aspect of Star Citizen is how are they going to do all of this? You know, in this time, it's what we've been doing, and the reason those first couple of years, didn't have a lot to show.
The next version is going to be the racing version, the RC. It's mostly just
flyable.
We're taking the base Cyclone and we're putting...
It's flyable. Whenever you hit a rock, it's flyable.
Basically nitrous oxide in the thing.
Eventually, players will also be able to test their skills by
I feel like either none of these people still work for the company, or they just realize they should never be on camera, or they'll get yelled
through
out.
race courses for the honor of logging the best time.
Some of them don't
this
even
week's sneak
fucking
peek
work
highlights a scoreboard tracking just that.
One of the ships...
The what? Excuse me?
This week's...
The scoreboard. In the verse, in the PU.
Sneak peek highlights a scoreboard tracking just that.
One of the ships coming online with 3.1 is the Mist Razor. We've had the Dragonfly with 3.0. The Nox Q is coming with 3.1, which is also a racing variant. We haven't had any additions to...
Is that an actual thing that you can buy? I never saw the Nox Q.
To racing gameplay. For
yeah. So we've actually, I mean, we don't have it on the list here. We've talked about trying to get some racing stuff in for 3.2 if we can make it. Definitely in for 3.3. The other thing, which is sort of going to the playing of now, we give love to Murray Cup Racing. And so we're in the process of looking to build dedicated teams to focus on that.
When will we see ground?
And that's why it's a racing variant, because it's silver.
Air race tracks on Yella.
We have, for 3.0, tried to make the traditional kind of start, interesting track, finish line, races on all three moons. And then the moons changed. Just changed beneath us. The technology keeps moving on. That doesn't mean we're not working on races. We are working on...
All right, so honestly, I'm glad that he put this in, because this is understandable. Because in each patch up until 3.17, all the planets were constantly changing. Like with every patch that they drop, they would change something that would completely. If you remember, I'm gonna say 3.16 or 3.15. I'm not sure. So the mineable rocks, the hand mineable rocks, and the rocks that you can mine with the rock, the ROC, they were like, for some reason in that patch they were like inside boulders and like huge rocks, and you couldn't like get to them so you can mine them. That happened because they fucked up, of course, but they changed the planets again. They added more like vegetation and shit to the planets. It doesn't matter, but they added some stuff and they changed again. So for example, with the I forgot what event it was. Well, I was competing. I was like, I think that was even before I made the channel. I'm not sure. I'm so fucking tired right now. But the event was gonna happen in like a crater. I'm gonna say 3.12 or 3.13, and then the new patch dropped, and they were like, "Well, the crater is not there. We gotta find another crater for the event." So it's understandable that they didn't introduce racetracks on planets because the planets were changing. But what about the racetrack on Yela?
A scramble race right now, but it takes place in space and on planets.
I don't have an answer for that.
As it is a death race. We've got this working on the planets. It's just players only. We've got this working in space, where AI can actually join. Our AI are capable of like racing in space.
Something we're really excited about is the creation of a prototype Scramble race event, which can work in space or planetside. In these death races, opponents battle to collect randomly generated checkpoints and more fundamentally to stay alive.
So the mission team continues to work on modular mission design and has refocused efforts on the Scramble race or death race missions that we saw early tests of in previous updates.
Y'all gonna be racing in the Scramble. Get set, go!
So this was obviously not recorded by an actor. This was obviously recorded by a fucking sound engineer because they needed something to showcase this. And this was obviously just a trick.
Get set, go! First one to collect enough checkpoints wins.
Wow.
Outside of that, whatever the hell you
Imagine going through a checkpoint like this and just like ramming the checkpoint every time you gotta go
First
over.
one to collect enough checkpoints wins. Outside of that, whatever the hell you want. Time to see who's gonna lay it all on the line and snatch the ring of victory. Wish we have ourselves a winner.
And we've also continued to improve the space races by crafting their own arenas inside the asteroid ring of Yela. This has finally got us that density of obstacles that we were lacking, and what makes the ground races so much fun.
I think it should be fun to see people playing it, and we're going to be expanding that going forward as well.
How do you reconcile
Yeah, we still don't
the
have this
introduction
mission,
of Scramble
yes.
racing missions with Death of a Spaceman?
It isn't a death race, right?
Right.
It isn't a death race. It's a race where you can kill people, like you can shoot people. Yeah. They're aimed towards the future. It's a tier 0, you know.
The tuner version is the racing version. It's got that extra boost capability and an extra battery so you can go a little longer.
For example, I always talk about this, like giving you guys some, like these, like 10 racing rods or something like that so you can set up a little race for yourself.
It's got the nice white car paint. It's got brand new racing thrusters in the back because it's much faster than the Merlin.
You know, when we feel that they're locked down to a point where the changes are going to be minimal, then we can look at doing things like racetracks and stuff, because the team is very
These are the
keen in
outposts.
not only doing things like racetracks, but providing players the abilities to create
They're like
racetracks of
outposts,
your own,
but
like
we
through
don't
markers
have
and beacons
them
and
like
stuff
this.
like
They're not like this.
Yeah, it's
Even
about
in
providing
3.18,
all these tools
like
that
this.
we need to sort of easily make the game and
Yeah, Rattlehead, I didn't want to comment on that. It's not a death race, but they can still kill you. Sure, buddy.
not do everything by hand like I'm doing now. This is sort of an example of racetracks and this is sort of an example of things that we really need tools and a more sort of solid idea of what we're doing before we actually start implementing those in.
Feature updates, gameplay. Temporarily removed Scramble races.
Amazing.
There's a lot of things going on in the future of Grim Hex that we needed to prepare for. Illegal races, we're going to need a lot of sort of betting and a mission giver and places to watch it from. So what we've done is we've taken one of the sort of more rundown and forgotten areas of Grim Hex and kind of updated it to look super nice. Betting kiosks and screens that could maybe in the future just display kinds of informations for the race, standings for the season. People are gonna sit there, watch the races from this huge window that they have in front of them. There's even a little VIP area, places to sell beer, and people are just gonna be able to come in there and sit in this really dingy place and be able to watch these races happening around in the asteroids.
Yeah, we all do that later. We all
the
wish
mission
this
giver
worked.
wasn't ready for that release, and the kind of the racing, the gameplay elements there as well wasn't ready. But essentially what we're doing is we're almost making the movie set. We're building the sets ready for the actors to come in, and that's kind of a nice analogy, a nice way to kind of look at things. So
I want racing tracks in the verse.
That's a hot topic right now. I don't even know if you're aware of that. Yeah, that's such a hot topic right now.
Oh, I saw something.
There's a lot of discussion about how we can better support those types of groups actually in game, providing tools so that rather than, having to place a ship or utilize a random rock as a marker or a checkpoint, that maybe you'll be provided with tools that will allow you to do it in a better way.
Deployable racing checkpoints. Yeah, that's also been on the list. We were talking about scramble races a couple years ago. One of the things that got reprioritized down the list a bit, but I was having a conversation with somebody about scramble races internally just earlier today.
But one aspect that's been driven almost entirely by the community is racing, a way to test the metal of your pedal against other players at any time or place.
By the way, it's 2023,
That's why when a small handful
and we
of
still
developers
didn't get
recently
racing in the PU. We do have it in the PTU, but not in the PU.
They found themselves with just a little bit of spare time between tasks, they took inspiration from the community and created 2 new racing
Where we're going, we don't need roads or road maps or a plan or vehicles. We're not going anywhere.
experiences for the persistent universe.
The process was a couple of hours of going
You want to gamble in the
assets,
game?
putting them
that
on
later?
the planet, setting
I mean,
them
you
up,
do that
seeing if
whenever
they
you
feel
buy
good.
a concept chip.
When we finished working on Siege of Orison, my lead approached me and told me about those convention halls, that they are most of the time empty in between the events, and maybe we should fill it with something fun for the player. We collected some ideas and decided to go for a buggy racetrack.
Racing is a cool and fun.
And it is super buggy. One of the apparent bugs that like people are talking about in the buggy racetrack is that the PTV takes damage just by going around the track. Like the wheels pop off for no fucking reason. Even if you don't hit it anywhere, the wheels took enough damage from just driving it around the racetrack, and you just lose the wheels and that's it.
Citizen, and it's something that we've seen that backers.
No,
really
they tested it
enjoy
out.
doing
You don't even need to
amongst
jump.
themselves, and
You just
something
need
that
to
we
go
really
around
want
the
to
track
help support,
without
from
the
within
going
CIG.
over the jump.
So we wanted to bring a new vehicle to the verse, which is where the STV.
And you know what? I'm gonna try not to rant about this, but the
Bring a
STV
new
when they
vehicle
introduced
to
it,
the verse.
they made a patch where they would bring all the speeds from all the other ground vehicles down, so the STV would be the best one. And they released it just before the Daymar Rally. So basically, they made people buy it if they want to win the Daymar Rally, and then on top of that, whoever wanted to even try racing or just whoever had a fear of missing out, I think that this is the best vehicle that they did by far so far. Everything is laid out perfectly. Everything is clickable. but also $40 for something that doesn't do shit except like go forward, left and right and backwards. No.
Which is where the STV came from.
A lot of us come from a racing background in terms of the games we've developed before. A lot of us are petrol heads at heart. So I think being able to build on that kind of gameplay in Star Citizen is super exciting for us.
That means getting to continue.
Dude, you can fit a STV inside the cutter.
Initiative started
No
earlier
problem.
this
You
year
can even close
to
the cutter.
research community-created racetracks in the Stanton system and find new ways to incorporate them officially into the very fabric of the persistent universe.
Yeah, I was talking about the STV.
So the yellow racetrack was taken inspiration from one of the racetracks built by the communities. We've moved it slightly away from Grim Hex into an adjacent asteroid field. So our designer in DE, Antoine Fauville, he's taken a course and he's made it for the players to play.
Why add 6 new racetracks to the persistent universe in 3.18?
For now, 6 racetracks. I think this was a pretty easy win.
This
for
is
all
the guy
team.
that I'm always talking about. He is either a Serb or a Croatian, maybe even Bosnian. But Nemanja Panic and Jared will call him Nemaja Panic, whatever. But he did the fucking racetracks on his spare time because he could do it, because he wanted to. And we need more people like that in the world, not only in CAG, especially in CAG, but in the world.
That worked on this, and it was just fun to make, and hopefully it's going to be fun to play.
It's like, if I were the project manager, racing is the last thing I'd be working on. But you make a good point about, this was a starter task for a brand new member of the team. It's not everybody that works on Star Citizen is at the same level of involvement, is at the same level of experience, is at the same level of commitment. And a lot of these times when you see these outward things like, oh, why are they on this and also this and also this? It's because you're looking for tasks to fit schedules. You're looking for tasks to fit openings in availabilities. You're looking for tasks that are suitable for the
Okay, I guess people are gonna call him out on Reddit, and I guess he is being malicious. It's a pain. Honestly, it's a pain. If you're not subscribed to Gold Gods, I don't know what you're doing with your life. So what he's doing, basically, all the videos that he posts are basically this. He just like pulls. There's a tool that I can show you. Like, I don't know, people didn't tell me about this tool forever. So it's called Star Archives or Starchives because it's starchives.org. And there you just like type in race and you get all the videos where they mentioned racing, for example. So he's using that tool to compile videos and yeah, when you take a look at the progression and all of that, it's just fucking amazing. And it's so infuriating and saddening at the same time.